Hey everybody, today's book review is going to be Children of Dune, Frank Herbert. This is book 3 in the Dune series following Dune Messiah. Um, this book reminds me a lot of Dune itself, because Dune Messiah felt like a very much like a kind of like this extended epilogue, if you will, of Dune or something like that. I mean, much shorter than Dune, much different scope than Dune. But Children of Dune felt more of like a return to the structure of the first book, Dune. And it was very it's very wonderfully well written. Frank Herbert's writing is top notch. When you're reading this, you're just you know this guy knows how to write, and boy does he knows how to write. And the elements of political intrigue and like the house um, politicking and warfare kind of ideas and the plots and all that kind of stuff is very much in this book. And elements of the mystical, so to speak, this religious undertone of everything and this messianic um, kind of story, as well as this like theme of a leader having there's this merge between the government, the state, and religion. There is a leader, a figure who is like a pharaoh kind of person. And I believe the term was used in Children of Dune a few times, referring to that type of leader, where it's not just a human, but like something more than human, a god, so to speak, or a half god, or whatever kind of phrase you want to use. But definitely this messianic kind of figure that is leading people to some sort of future, taking the reins, directing where everybody's going to go, and that people, almost in a sense, kind of people want that. They yearn for that. And no matter whether or not that person is actually God or a God or has said, mystical, magical, whatever powers, or wherever those powers may derive from, that there are people who yearn for that in a leader, look for that in a leader, and that people of that position and power seek to take control and have some sort of vision for his or her people and steer them in that direction, whether they want to or not. And in almost this, I don't know if I would say fully tyrannical sense, but yeah, kind of. And having complete control in that sense. And who are the people to question the the foresight or the vision of this leader, because well, this person is a messianic figure. They are godlike, or god, or a god, or what have you. um and I kind of like that. That's in Frank Herbert's books. It's pretty in your face, but not like beating you over the head with it or anything like that. It's actually pretty smart. It's well done. And I really also like there's a part in this book, well, not a part, but like almost like the second half ish. Um, things get really weird, and you know the cover for God Emperor of Dune kind of makes more sense if you've seen that cover. You know what I mean? But it was really weird, and I'm all for it. I like that very weird, out there, bizarre kind of stuff. And I've been craving that in the past two Dune books, Dune Messiah and Dune. I've been wanting some more of that wacky, not wacky, maybe that wacky is not the right term, but like this out of this world kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? So I enjoyed that with one of the characters. I'm not going to get into specifics. I don't want to spoil anything. And then another character too. That was, she was in Dune Messiah, what happens with her character in this book too was pretty wild as well, and I that threw me for a loop too in a great way. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Was it a perfect book? Close, close. It's hard to say that this was like as stellar of a book as Dune, because it's always so hard to compare sequels to original. And some series, get better and better as they progress. I mean, for example, a very recent, like contemporary example would be Sun Eater series. In my personal opinion, it seems like book 6 is better than all the others. Um, in my Alistair Reynolds books over there, the Inhibitor trilogy, in my opinion, Absolution Gap is probably my favorite, because there, again, in that one, there is some wacky, wild, crazy stuff going on there with religious kind of undertones, which is something I really like. And I guess that's why I really like Sun Eater, especially in Disquiet Gods, the 6th book. I like that stuff. And it's fun to read. But this was fun to read. I was always looking forward to reading the next page in Children of Dune, going from one chapter to the next. It, I mean, I wouldn't use the term page turner kind of gets used in like this thriller aspect, but this book just had gripped me. I wanted to keep going back to reading it. I wanted to read more and more, and I didn't want to put it down. And that's a sign of a very good book. So I mean, if somebody's out there that's read Dune Messiah and wants to know if they continue on the Children of Dune, does it hold up? Da da da. Yeah, it definitely does. I would definitely recommend keep going through Children of Dune. Will I continue to God Emperor of Dune book 4? You betcha I would, and I will. Well, sometime soon. I mean, I got other books on my list of things. I'm currently working through the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. Um, Strength of the Few comes out soon. Shadows Upon Time. I want to get back. I got to do Oathbringer here in the Stormlight Archives. There's other series of books that I'm like working through, and I kind of like doing a rotation. I don't like getting burnt out and staying in one series back to back to back to back. But am I going to go to God Emperor of Dune? Oh, of course I will. But and other thing that's great I want to mention about this book is, and this is in the other books too, is at the beginning of each chapter there's like an excerpt or something about somebody that said it could be a prophetic thing, it could be just a bit of history, it could be philosophical, it could be a commentary, whatever, you know what I mean, those little blurbs at the beginning of each chapter. Wow, the ones in this book here, Children of Dune, those little excerpts, those little beginning of the chapter blurbs, whatever you want to call them, some of them were very profound, very profound. I had to stop and reread them. I had to chew on them a little bit in my head, so to speak. And yeah, really knocked it out of the park for me. I love sci-fi like this, where it has all the things that I mentioned before. It feels like it's just well written, and it's and the author's very smart, has it all planned out. It does a great job writing, but also really makes you stop and think. I love sci-fi. Don't get me wrong, sci-fi that's just fun, and you're just going through. It's there's a lot of action, and you're just and or even very wacky humor like Dungeon Crawl Car or whatever. Don't get me wrong, those are great. I love those too. But I also love a good sci-fi book that really makes you slow down and think a bit, and it's timeless. I think this book was written in the 70s. Um, yeah, I think so. It's just and how it's timeless, that here, what, 50ish years later or so, it's still making you think about things that may be relevant to current events, or not necessarily current events, but whatever, you know what I mean, stuff that just makes you think. So kudos to Frank Herbert, amazing author, great book. Recommend it if you enjoy Dune and Dune Messiah. Of course, yeah, keep going. Get Children of Dune. Um, and I I look forward to getting to book 4, God Emperor of Dune. Absolutely. Um, but yeah, overall, fantastic book. Highly recommend. And also, I was about to say recommend if you're into sci-fi, but also, this is sci-fi. Like, this is like, if I had to list the things that this is categorized under, Dune, sci-fi would be one of the last things I would use to categorize this book. The sci-fi elements of is a backdrop. It's an afterthought, so to speak, or whatever, right? This is fiction. This is just fantasy of the future. This is future fantasy. Like, this is, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, just because a book has a story has a spaceship in it and like space, futuristic weapons and stuff, does that make it sci-fi? I mean, to that extent, that's what I mean. Dune has that, but like the bulk of it is what I was talking about before, where it's politics and philosophical and religious, all those kinds of themes and elements that you get in a book that you get in here. That's the main thrust of this book. Sci-fi is just like, oh, they just happen to have spaceships and they're going from planet to planet, or they have advanced weaponry or things like that. But gosh, right, that's few and far between. So don't, if you're into sci-fi, don't think like, oh, I wouldn't like doing it sci-fi. No, 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 no. Don't. It's not that. Just pick it up and see it, and you may be surprised how much you like Dune. And then if you do, I would recommend keep going through the series. So that's my take on Children of Dune. Loved it. Would definitely recommend it, and definitely will continue the series as soon as I can. Thank you for watching.